Hey guys, I wanted to pop in and talk to you today about something that, it's sort of one of these universal rules that if you're in entrepreneurship, if you're a business owner, everyone talks about it, but nobody really gets down to the nitty gritty. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what I'm talking about, which I'll go into in a minute, and also how you can use it to your advantage. And so basically, if you're in entrepreneurship or business owner, or really just in life, there's a rule that states it's the 80-20 rule. And that states basically that 80% of your results comes from 20% of your work. And so your job is kind of to figure out what's that 20% and keep going with that 20%, and that will build and you'll continue to get results, right? So one of the questions that I always had, because I heard this rule over and over and over again, well, what's my 20%? How am I figuring out what that 20% is so that I can apply it to my business? Because sometimes when you're out there and you're struggling and you're new and you're trying to get it together, you're not necessarily recognizing what that 20% is. And so I wanted to give you basically just a couple of tips today to help you figure out what the 20% is so that you can be more effective in your business. So it's basically paying attention and being intentional about whatever it is you're doing. So if you're having an interaction with a client, if you are going through a consultation, if you're going through an entire project, your job is to basically be constantly evaluating and reevaluating what worked and what didn't. If you want to get published, if you decide, hey, you know what? I want to see my work. I want to be published on a major blog, and you send it out to 5 different blogs and it gets picked up by 2. Look at what you did. Look at what their process was. Look at what you did that either was different or the same. And then you can make a decision about, did that work? Why do I think it worked? And pay attention to that. Even if it was just, well, they picked my work up once, they may pick it up again. And you may be able to do that multiple times as a resource. But it's about basically paying attention to what you're doing, constantly evaluating and then re-evaluating. And if you're paying attention to things like, oh, I did that and that really worked, or I did that and the client responded really well, try that again. And slowly but surely you will start to sort of carve away the things that don't work and then be able to implement the things that do work. So that 20% that you're working on, that 20% is continually growing. And you can then go back and have basically a bank of resources. Well, I know this works. I know this works. I know this works. And you can start then implementing that into your design process, implementing that into your systems so that you can be more successful faster. So again, the bottom line is when you're trying to figure out that, in the 80-20 rule, and you're trying to figure out what is my top 20%, what are those things that are working, pay attention, evaluate no matter what it is. And then you'll be able to start picking out things and you'll see, okay, this is continually working. And you'll be able to build a system on that, get your systems going. And again, that's going to bring you more success faster. So that's just one little tip I have for you in terms of figuring out that 80-20 rule and figuring out your most effective 20%. And I think it will serve you well. It certainly has served me well. And I hope that helps you out. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope everybody's doing well. All right.